I don't even know where to start, but I need to get this out. My name's Mike. I'm 34, married to Jenna for 8 years, and up until last week, I thought I knew my wife. Thought I knew us. But apparently, everything I believed was a lie. Every laugh, every touch, every I love you was just a mask she wore to keep me blind. It all started with little things that didn't make sense at first. Jenna started locking her phone. She suddenly forgot plans we made months ago or canceled at the last second with excuses that sounded rehearsed. She started spending way more time at work events, and every time I asked, she rolled her eyes like I was the problem for caring. She changed her perfume, started leaving the house looking more put together than ever, and laughed at jokes she used to hate. That should have been my first red flag, but I brushed it off. I was busy. She said she was stressed. I believed her. Then came the weekend she insisted on girls' night, saying she needed a break from me because I was too clingy. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something felt off. My gut screamed, and I did the stupidest, most desperate thing. I checked her phone when she was in the shower. At first, it was just text with a guy named Ryan. Innocent? Maybe. But then I saw the pictures. Explicit, unmissable, undeniable. And then came the videos. Videos of Jenna kissing him, touching him, laughing while he whispered things into her ear. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding like it was going to explode. I wanted to throw up. I wanted to break something. I wanted to scream at her until she couldn't stand straight. But worse than that, I wanted to disappear from the world and pretend none of this existed. I sat there, frozen, staring at the screen, seeing my entire life, my trust, my marriage, everything, shatter in front of me. When she came out of the shower, towel around her waist, hair wet and dripping, she caught me holding her phone. Instead of panic, instead of guilt, she smirked. "What are you doing, Mike?" Her tone was calm, taunting, like she'd been waiting for this moment. I froze. My blood ran cold. And in that second, I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. She had done this before. Not just once, not just with Ryan. She had perfected this performance, and I had been too naive, too blind, to notice the rehearsals along the way. I couldn't even look at her. She just stood there, dripping wet, smirking, like the world revolved around her, and she had me exactly where she wanted. My hands were still shaking, my mind racing. I needed answers. And I knew Jenna. If I asked her straight up, she'd spin some lies so fast I'd feel guilty for even doubting her. She had done it before. She was good at this. I started small. I scrolled through her messages, piecing together a timeline. Work event last Friday? Not work. A hotel downtown with Ryan. Lunch with a friend? Same guy. I found receipts, photos on her cloud account, and even some location tags she'd forgotten to disable. The deeper I dug, the sicker I felt. And the worst part? She wasn't ashamed. Every message I read was full of teasing, flirting, casual cruelty. The kind that makes you realize they don't just betray you physically, they do it emotionally too. That's when I noticed something she had never done before. She lied to my face like it was a sport. "I was at work late, Mike. You know, meetings. I'm just stressed, that's all." "You're overreacting." Overreacting? I'm staring at videos of her with another man while she smiles at me like I'm the crazy one. I tried to confront her that night. "Jenna, we need to talk. Now." My voice was tight, barely holding back rage. She looked up from scrolling her phone, unbothered. "About what? You've been acting weird all day." I slammed her phone onto the counter. "Don't lie. Me. I know everything." Her eyes flicked to the phone, then back to me. And that's when she did it. She leaned against the counter, crossed her arms, and smirked. "Everything? Really? Or just what you want to believe?" Every nerve in my body screamed. That smirk? That's the one I'd known for years. The one she used when she wanted something from me, or when she was about to manipulate me. And it hit me like a punch to the chest. I'd spent 8 years with a woman who could smile while stabbing me in the back. A woman who didn't just cheat on me physically, but had been training me to believe her lies for years. I didn't know if I was more furious or heartbroken. I wanted to yell. I wanted to throw things. I wanted to collapse on the floor and never move again. But instead, I just stood there, shaking, and asked the only question I could think of. "Why, Jenna? Why him? Why now?" She tilted her head, lips curling. "Because I can, Mike. Because you've been boring. Because I wanted to feel alive again. Don't act like you never knew this would happen." And just like that, it wasn't just betrayal. It was gaslighting. She'd framed me as the villain in her story before I even knew the truth. My world was collapsing, and she didn't care. She was proud of it. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed in the living room, scrolling through every proof I could find, mapping out her lies, her timeline, her manipulations. Every text, every photo, every missed call felt like a knife twisting in my gut. And somewhere between rage and despair, a cold, dark thought settled in my mind. She needs to pay for this. Not with violence, not with screaming, but she needs to feel the weight of what she's done. I realized something. This wasn't just about cheating. This was about control, about power, about a woman who had been running a full-time operation of deceit while pretending to be a devoted wife. And I was done being the fool who cleaned up after her manipulations. The next morning, I woke up with a clear head for the first time in days. My chest was tight, my hands still shook, but my mind was sharper than it had been since I found out. I realized I couldn't just explode at Jenna and hope she'd magically confess. No, I needed strategy. I needed proof she couldn't talk her way out of. I needed her to see that I knew everything. I started with her friends, her work buddies, and her girls' nights. I sent casual texts, pretending to be interested in plans she'd mentioned. Every response, every slip-up, gave me more ammunition. Then I checked her car. Hidden in the back seat were receipts for fancy dinners downtown, hotel keys, even a small box with Ryan's cologne. She thought I'd never touch her personal things, and that arrogance became my edge. Later that day, she came home, all smiles, like nothing had happened. "Morning, babe. You look exhausted." Exhausted? I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. I'd spent hours piecing together her entire little double life, and she greeted me like everything was normal. "Morning," I said flatly, not even a hint of warmth. She noticed instantly. Her eyes narrowed. "What's wrong?" I just smiled coldly. "Nothing, just tired of being lied to." Her jaw twitched. That's when she tried the classic Jenna move. Guilt. "Mike, come on." I was stressed. I didn't mean anything by it. "You're overreacting." I laughed, bitter, low, shaking. "Overreacting? Jenna, I have receipts, texts, videos, and you know what? That's just the stuff I found in a few hours. Imagine what I could dig up if I really wanted to see how deep this goes." Her smirk faltered, just for a second, and that second was all I needed. I could see panic flicker behind her eyes, the first crack in her armor. She tried to play it off. "Mike, you're imagining things." I pulled out my phone, opened a folder titled Jenna and Ryan. Photos, videos, even screenshots of messages where she admitted she had done this before with other guys. I didn't even have to say anything. She looked at that folder, and I swear I saw her heart skip. But she's Jenna. And no matter what, she always has a defense, a lie, a story that flips the blame. "You're obsessed. You've gone crazy. You're stalking me." I sat there, letting her words wash over me, letting her feel like she still had control. But inside, I was already planning. She wanted me to explode? Fine. I'd stay calm. She wanted to gaslight me? Fine. I had evidence that would speak louder than her lies. And most importantly, she didn't even realize she was about to get a taste of her own medicine. By the end of that day, I had a folder full of everything. Every message, every photo, every proof she had been living a double life. I knew what she was capable of, and now I had the upper hand. For the first time since I caught her, I didn't feel helpless. I felt like a man who had finally woken up from a nightmare and was ready to take the reins. I just didn't know yet if I wanted revenge, closure, or to burn everything down. But one thing was certain. Jenna would never smile at me the same way again. That night, Jenna came home late, again. She was buzzing with energy, probably fresh off whatever thrill she got from Ryan. She leaned against the doorframe, trying to look casual. "Hey, Mike, you still up?" I was sitting at the kitchen table, lights low, my laptop open. The folder labeled Everything glared back at me from the screen. I didn't look up immediately. I let her stew in the silence. She tilted her head. "What's that?" I finally looked at her, my voice calm, controlled, colder than ice. "Oh, this? Just some things I found while you were working late. Care to explain why Ryan's cologne is in our hallway?" Her eyes widened ever so slightly, and I caught that flicker of panic. But Jenna being Jenna, she smiled like a fox who just got caught stealing cookies. "Cologne? Mike, come on. You're paranoid. You're imagining things." I leaned back in my chair, letting her words hang in the air, giving her time to stew in her own lies. Imagining things? Jenna, I have texts, photos, videos. I even found hotel receipts. You really thought I wouldn't notice? She laughed, a sharp, dismissive laugh that made my blood boil. Oh, Mike, you're ridiculous. You've been so controlling lately. This is why I needed space. You can't even trust me. I slammed the laptop shut. Hard. Control? Control is knowing your wife isn't lying to me in my own house. Control is not having to piece together her life from scraps. You're a liar, Jenna, and you're manipulative. And yes, I can trust myself to see the truth when I'm staring it in the face. She scoffed, shaking her head. You're overreacting. You're crazy. You're obsessive. And that's when I realized the full scope of her arrogance. She wasn't afraid of me. She was afraid of being caught without her smirk. Everything she did, every lie, every flirtation, every betrayal, was calculated. She thought she could dance around the truth forever. I stood up, slow, deliberate, and walked right up to her. Jenna, look at me. You know what I see? I see a woman who couldn't wait to break me down. I see every text you sent, every lie you told, every night you went out thinking you were untouchable. And I see myself finally waking up. Her smirk faltered. For the first time in months, I saw her lose a fraction of her composure. Mike, you don't understand. I cut her off. No, Jenna, I understand perfectly. You cheated. You lied. You manipulated. And now, it's my turn to decide what comes next. She opened her mouth, trying another lie, but I didn't let her speak. I pulled out my phone, set it on the counter, and played the first video. Just a few seconds. Her kissing Ryan, her laugh, the way she didn't even flinch when he touched her. She gasped. I watched her face twist from disbelief to panic to anger. Mike, turn that off. You can't. I didn't. I stood there, watching, calm, collected, while she realized that every lie she'd spun for months, every betrayal she thought she could hide, was now laid bare in front of her. And for the first time, I felt the rush of power. Not because I wanted to hurt her, though that thought tempted me, but because finally, the scales were tipping. The woman who had built a career out of deception was facing her own truth. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even raise my voice. And that, more than anything, rattled her. Jenna was used to chaos, used to men breaking down, begging, shouting, trying to fix things. Calm scared her. Silence scared her. She started pacing the kitchen, running her hands through her hair. Mike, you're taking this way too far. You're humiliating me. Turn that off. Humiliating her. I almost laughed. You humiliated yourself, I said quietly. I'm just done protecting you from the consequences. That's when she tried a new tactic. Tears. Real ones this time, or at least convincing enough. She leaned against the counter like her legs couldn't hold her. It didn't mean anything. It was just physical. You know I've always loved you. That sentence did something irreversible inside me. 8 years of marriage reduced to just physical. I realized then that if I stayed in this house another minute, I'd start hating myself. So I stood up, grabbed my keys, and walked past her. Where are you going? She asked, panic creeping into her voice. To tell the truth, I said. I drove straight to my brother's place. Chris had always been neutral about Jenna, polite, distant, never fully convinced. When I walked in, he knew immediately something was wrong. I showed him everything. No commentary, no dramatics, just facts. By the end, his jaw was clenched so tight I thought his teeth would crack. You want advice? He said. Stop letting her control the narrative. She will destroy you if you don't. That night, I made a decision that felt cruel, but necessary. I sent a single message. Group text. Jenna's parents. Her sister. 2 of our closest mutual friends. No insults. No commentary. Just one line. I didn't want this public, but I refused to be lied about. Jenna has been having an affair. I have proof. Within minutes, my phone exploded. Missed calls. Angry texts. Shocked responses. And then, Jenna. She called over and over until I finally answered. She was screaming, crying, swearing. How could you do this to me? You ruined my life. No, I said calmly. You did. I just stopped lying for you. She threatened me. Divorce, lawyers, restraining orders, false accusations. Every card she had, she tried to play. And that's when I realized something terrifying and clarifying at the same time. This woman never loved me. She loved control. She loved being wanted. She loved getting away with it. When I hung up, my hands were shaking, but not from fear. From relief. For the first time since I found out, the weight wasn't all on my chest anymore. The truth was out there, and she couldn't stuff it back into the dark. The fallout was immediate and brutal. By morning, Jenna's carefully curated image was cracking from every angle. Her mom called me first, voice shaking, apologetic, asking if any of it was really true. I told her yes. No details. Just yes. Silence followed, heavy and final. Her sister texted something defensive at first, then stopped responding altogether. Even our friends, the ones who used to come over for barbecues and holidays, went quiet. Jenna hated silence. That's why she'd spent years filling it with noise, lies, drama. She came home that afternoon like a storm, slammed the door, threw her purse across the couch. Her face was red, eyes wild. "You wanted to destroy me?" she snapped. "Congratulations. You did it." I was sitting at the table again, same spot, same posture. Calm. "No," I said. "I wanted the truth to exist without your edits." She laughed, sharp and ugly. "You think you're some hero now? You think people won't see through this?" "They already have," I replied. "And they're seeing you for the first time." That's when she dropped the act completely. No tears. No guilt. Just venom. She called me weak. Said Ryan made her feel alive. Said I was predictable, safe, boring. Said she stayed because it was convenient. Each word was meant to hurt, and some of them did. But what surprised her was that none of them broke me. I felt something strange settle in my chest. Clarity. "You know what's funny?" I said. "If you had just owned it, if you'd shown even a shred of remorse, I might have fallen apart. But this?" I gestured at her. "This just confirms I was married to a stranger." She stared at me, stunned. She wasn't used to losing control mid-argument. She stepped closer, lowered her voice. "You really think you're walking away clean from this?" "I'm already gone," I said. That night, I slept in the guest room. Not because I was afraid of her, but because sharing a bed with her felt like sleeping next to a lie that finally ran out of words. I contacted a lawyer the next morning. Not emotional, not dramatic, just methodical. Assets, accounts, evidence, everything documented. Jenna noticed the shift immediately. When manipulation stopped working, she tried affection, apologies, promises, even intimacy. It was desperate, transparent, and too late. Every move she made only confirmed one thing. The woman I married didn't want forgiveness. She wanted control back, and I wasn't giving it to her. The moment Jenna realized she couldn't pull me back, she changed strategies again. That's her pattern. When charm fails, she escalates. When guilt fails, she weaponizes fear. It started subtle. She told a mutual friend that I was unstable, that I'd been recording her without consent, that she was scared of me. I found out when my phone lit up with a message that read, "Hey man, are you okay?" Jenna's saying some worrying stuff. That's when I understood how dangerous she really was. Not emotional dangerous. Reputation dangerous. The kind of person who will burn you alive socially just to avoid sitting with their own guilt. So I moved faster. I backed up everything. Cloud, hard drive, lawyer's server. Time-stamped. Categorized. Every message. Every video. Every threat she sent after the exposure. I stopped speaking to her unless it was in writing. No calls. No hallway arguments. No chances for her to twist words. She hated that. One night she cornered me in the kitchen, voice low, eyes sharp. "You think you're smart? You think this little calm act saves you?" I looked at her and felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just distance. "I think you underestimate how much I've already accepted," I said. She snapped, grabbed a glass, smashed it into the sink. "You're not the victim here, Mike." "No," I replied. "I'm the witness." That word hit her harder than any insult. Witness meant evidence. Witness meant truth. Witness meant she wasn't in control anymore. 2 days later, her affair partner, Ryan, reached out to me. I didn't expect that. He wrote a long message full of cowardly apologies and self-pity. Claimed he didn't know she was still serious with me. Claimed she told him we were basically over. I didn't reply. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Then I archived it. That night, Jenna cried. Not performative crying, real panic. "He won't answer me," she said. "He blocked me." And there it was. The final crack. She didn't lose me. She lost both safety and fantasy at the same time. I realized then that her biggest fear wasn't divorce. It wasn't public shame. It was being alone with herself. without an audience, without a backup plan, without someone to blame. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt something close to justice. The house started to feel smaller after that. Not physically, emotionally. Every room carried an echo of something fake. The couch where we'd watched shows she'd barely paid attention to while texting him. The kitchen where she'd kissed me goodbye before late meetings. The bedroom where I realized trust doesn't die loudly. It rots quietly, day by day. Jenna tried to exist like nothing had changed. She cooked dinner once, left it on the stove untouched, then accused me of punishing her when I didn't eat. Another night she sat across from me and talked about memories, vacations, inside jokes, like nostalgia could overwrite betrayal. "You're erasing 8 years like they meant nothing," she said. I looked at her carefully. "No, you did that. I'm just refusing to lie about it." That's when she finally asked the question she'd been avoiding. "So what, divorce? You really want to destroy everything?" I didn't answer right away. I let the silence stretch until it hurt. "I want peace," I said, "and I can't have that with you." She scoffed. "You'll regret this." Maybe, but I already regretted staying too long with someone who enjoyed deceiving me. Regret loses its power once you've already lived through the worst version of it. The lawyer meetings were surreal. I talked about my marriage like it belonged to someone else. Dates, accounts, evidence. Jenna showed up once, late, dramatic, trying to cry her way into sympathy. It didn't work. Facts don't care about tears. What she didn't know was that I'd already made my most important move. I filed first. Quietly, cleanly. No threats. No announcements. Just paperwork and preparation. When she found out, she lost it. Screamed. Accused me of being heartless. Of throwing her away. "I didn't throw you away," I said. "I stopped carrying you." That night, she packed a bag and left. Slammed the door like she wanted the sound to haunt me. It didn't. What haunted me was how peaceful the house felt afterward. I slept for 10 straight hours. No nightmares. No phone checking. No racing thoughts. Just silence. For the first time in months, my body believed what my mind already knew. This was over. The divorce moved faster than I expected. When there's no fight left in you, paperwork becomes strangely easy. Jenna tried to stall at first, missed deadlines, forgot documents, sudden emotional emails at 2 in the morning. I didn't respond. My lawyer did. Detachment is a language narcissists don't speak fluently, and watching her lose fluency was quietly satisfying. We met one last time to sign the final documents. A conference room downtown. Neutral. Cold. Fluorescent lights that made everyone look worse than they wanted to. Jenna walked in late, dressed sharp, makeup perfect, armor back on. She sat across from me and didn't say hello. I didn't either. She skimmed the papers like she already knew how this would end, but I could see her jaw tighten when she realized there was no loophole. No last-minute power play. Just consequences. "So that's it," she said finally. "You're really doing this." I met her eyes. Calm. Steady. I already did. For a moment, something real flickered across her face. Fear. Regret. Maybe both. "I never thought you'd leave," she said quietly. "That was your mistake," I replied. She laughed softly, bitter. "You think this makes you strong?" "No," I said. "It makes me free." She signed. The pen paused once, like she wanted to say something meaningful, something redeeming. She didn't. Neither did I. When the last signature dried, it felt anticlimactic, like the end of a storm you survived indoors. Outside, the air felt lighter. Not happy, just clear. My phone buzzed with a message from my lawyer confirming it was done. Final. Irrevocable. Jenna stood there for a second, like she expected me to say something, anything. I didn't. I walked past her without looking back. In the parking garage, I sat in my car and exhaled a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for years. No rage. No victory dance. Just a deep, quiet sense of alignment. She didn't lose me because she cheated. She lost me because she believed I'd never stop loving her enough to leave. It's been 6 months since the divorce finalized. No dramatic epilogue. No surprise twists. Just distance and perspective. People keep asking how I'm doing, like they expect me to still be bleeding. The truth? I'm quieter now. More deliberate. I don't rush to fill silence anymore, and I don't confuse chaos with passion. That marriage taught me something brutal and permanent. Love without respect isn't love. It's just tolerance with a heartbeat. Jenna tried to come back once. Not in person. A late-night email. No subject line. Just a wall of words about growth, therapy, mistakes, how she finally understands. I read it once. Didn't reply. Closure doesn't require conversation when the truth is already complete. I rebuilt slowly. New apartment. New routines. Old friends I'd neglected because I was too busy holding a marriage together by myself. I didn't rush into dating. I didn't need validation. I needed my nervous system to relearn what safety felt like. Here's the part no one tells you. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It rewires your instincts. You doubt your judgment, your memory, your worth. Healing isn't about forgiving the other person. It's about trusting yourself again. Looking back, the signs were always there. The entitlement, the lack of accountability, the way she never apologized without a but. I ignored them because I believed commitment meant endurance. I was wrong. Commitment without boundaries is just self-erasure. So if you're reading this and you're in that place, the gut feeling, the late nights, the excuses that don't sit right, listen to yourself. Don't wait for proof that destroys you. Don't stay because you're afraid of starting over. Starting over is painful. Staying broken is worse. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I walked away with my integrity intact. And that's the kind of ending you don't recover from. You build from it.